when you look back as a trans person, you find all these like certain little things that brought you and led you to where you are at. When I was a kid, like I didn't like wearing dresses at all. Like I wanted to wear boxers like my brothers. I wanted to play sports. Like I had a very masculine energy when I was a kid, and I really didn't have like the language behind it. Neither did my parents. It wasn't something that was like actively talked about. Not that it was anybody's issue or problem. It was just not something that was very much in like social media or any kind of media per se within the 90s and early 2000s. So I wasn't really given that opportunity to like find the language of how I felt inside. But what I knew was when I was a kid, like I was very uncomfortable. And I didn't really know why. And when I was a teenager, I ended up like developing an eating disorder because I wasn't in the right body. Like I was in my like early 20s when people started talking about transitioning, started talking about who they are, mental health, etc. That's when my head started to like think about where I was and who I was and how I wanted to present myself as in the world.
How long has it been that you're in Vernon?
My whole life. I went to Vancouver though for like 5 years, 3 years, yeah. 3 years, and did my barbering down there, did my schooling, did an apprenticeship, and then I came back home. I worked for a barber downtown here in Vernon, and then I opened my own shop after a few years. Yeah. My whole life, I would always pick at my mom's hair. She always just thought it was like really annoying, and she'd just get your hands off me, get your hands off me. And then in grade 12, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And my mom was just like, oh, you should just like do hair. You are always in my head. You won't stop touching me. So I was like, hey, that's a good idea. I'll give it a shot. And then I just like didn't look back. It was just a perfect fit. Wouldn't change it for the world. I remember just trying to like fight this transition because I knew it would be hard, not for myself per se, but for everyone around me. Because I mean, change is hard for a lot of people, and I didn't really want to face that part. But what I did know is I was in the wrong body, and I needed to change it. And when we got into COVID, I feel like a lot of people were like these beautiful caterpillars that turned into butterflies after 2 years, and they're like, oh, this is who I am, this is my mental health, I'm trans, I'm whatever. And that's like, that was my opportunity to like fully sink into it. And I went to my doctor one day and I was like, listen, like I gotta get on testosterone. I need to be fitting into who I am. And then I just like didn't look back after that. And I was 28 when I finally came to that decision.
So you wrote the story a little more forward than I was expecting, but that's good.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. It's all good.
Cut.
No, so it starts from you're feeling uncomfortable, and it's a feeling that you're in the wrong
Yeah.
body. So it's more a physical thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a. Is like the physical and the body associated with the identity, yes, ultimately, but like it's not necessarily that you were.
Yeah, you don't really have like the understanding of it. Most kids don't even have the understanding that like a pair of pants don't fit them well, right? And that's how I always like put that analogy together for people. I'm like, okay, say you're putting on a pair of pants and they're like a little too long or a little too like wide or a little too tight, but you wear them anyways because you have to go to this event and you need to look good and grandma says that you have to wear these pair of pants. But like the whole time you're like adjusting your pants. That's exactly what it feels like when you're in transition.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to put it. I see. Yeah, and like the challenge of, because as we go through time, like things are more and more open, and there's more and more people who talk about all kind of things, and not just this, but all kind of things.
Yeah.
And when you, and for people before, even more challenge because you don't have that validation. Nobody can, like you're saying, your parents couldn't really guide you into income because they also didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said it, but like, so at that point, we're already, we're in 2020. So it's early 2020 that you started.
Yeah.
That you went to your. How was that? So first, is there anything like on social media or like somebody your entourage or whatever that helped you pull the plug and make the decision, or you just like it built up, and then one day you woke up and you were like, okay, now I'm doing it. What was it something that also made the last?
I feel like one of my friends, he's in Portland and his name's Luke Wesley Pearson, and I would see his journey and he was just like a little bit before me, like he was like 6 months, like, and I could just see him getting happier and happier and happier throughout his photos and what he was doing. And he said, yo, I'm like a trans man. And I was like, oh, he looks so happy. Like, I just need to do this. Like, this isn't gonna hurt. This isn't hurting anyone. I'm hurting myself by just like holding on to this, secret to everybody else. So he was definitely like my catalyst, I would say, that pushed me over it. But like years, like I said, for like 2 years, I was just like deep diving into tons of transition videos and YouTube tutorials and all that kind of stuff that I knew I needed to do it. And I think my biggest person that was very helpful within guiding me was my wife. She would ask like very interesting questions like, oh, are you uncomfortable in that, or like, let's like buy you a suit, and like she's the person that knew before I even knew. That's what I always like to say. So she was the first person obviously I came out to, and she was like, yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, it was definitely like a special person to come out to, for sure.
That probably was huge.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing you want within a partner or even friends or relationships, close relationships that you have, is that people can just see your soul and be like, all right, cool.
So did you start before starting telling it, or did you tell it like first publicly, or you just like kept it small and that start the thing and then?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, the process of coming out like as trans was really hard. I didn't expect it to be so hard. I didn't want it to be hard. But yeah, so the first person I came out to was my wife, and then, my best friends, and then some close friends, and then my family. And as I was coming out to all these groups of people, a lot of me was just like, well, I don't need to say anything to like, my clients or whatever like that. It is what it is. I'm just going to kind of push it under the rug. And being a public figure within Vernon, it wasn't like I couldn't push it under the rug. It was one of those things that like people would misgender me and other people would find it confusing, and it was just not something that could be cohesive. And it wasn't honoring who I was either. So I had to make a full like PR announcement, email, and like send it out to all my customers and just say like, this is who I am, this is how I identify now. I hope to see you guys in my shop. And yeah, that process, like I remember sending that email out and being, quite scared and nervous and all of the things, and excited and relieved. And yeah, for the most part, I got a really good response from my clients. Everyone just wants to see you happy at the end of the day. And yeah, I think there was some time, like, there's definitely an adjustment period when you're changing pronouns or seeing someone differently with other people. But I'd like to say I'm a person that's very patient within that process for other people as well. Because I think a lot of trans people don't like to acknowledge that it actually does affect everyone around you.
The fact of what, like, of like changing?
Yeah, of change. Like,
yeah,
the fact
does,
that you see someone differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does, but at the end of the day, that's what you said in the beginning. Like, the main thing is you're not going to be somebody that
No,
you're not to
exactly.
make others happy, because then you make yourself miserable. But like, this
100%.
is the same thing with plenty of other things, not to compare a gender transition to something else, but there's plenty of cases where people don't act because of the fear of external judgment and because
100%.
of this, and they'd rather stay because they don't want to. But like at some point, it's really like if you're like acting toward your own happiness is the only way, and people will understand, and then the people will also see it.
Absolutely. Like, one of the other days, my friend Lisa, she said her kid came in for a haircut. And when she came down for a haircut, she hadn't seen me in a while. I had been transitioned probably for like a year and a half. And I was cutting her hair, and we were just like having a wonderful time. And Lisa said to me at the end, like on her ride home with her kid, the kid was like, Elmaz just looks super happy. And I'm like, this is like a 10-year-old kid, and they notice that.
Yeah.
That's like a total testament as to why people just need to be who they are.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Where are the people around you, your family and stuff? How are they seeing you, or are they telling you about like a change, or what they see changing in you, or not?
Yeah, I think like my family was more surprised than anything, which I'm like, huh. I was actually kind of surprised by that they were surprised. But yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment for my family, and they see me as male now, which is good. And I've been within my transition for 2 years, but within that 2 years, it was definitely a process of, just learning pronouns and seeing me differently, having multiple conversations with my family. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like very, very vulnerable to, and you feel very exposed within your family when you're presenting as quote unquote a different person to them. But I think now that they see my changes, it's been a lot more easier for them. Yeah. And just talking about it, finding educational bits, articles, videos that you can send to your family that they can understand a little bit more, because it's just like it's learning something completely different.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a very like, I always have to like put it in their perspective, is that they're just learning something new. It's not like you have to try to not be taking it personally, which can be really hard when you're in such a like vulnerable spot.
Yeah, that's the thing I think is the most challenging, is because it's such a hard thing to do that. Because at the end of the day, when you do something for you, whatever it is, like you shouldn't be affected by it, because everybody have an opinion on anything.
Yeah.
Especially the things that are a little different, or
yeah.
changing from what it was, or from what they knew and stuff like that. So So we shouldn't be, but we shouldn't be impacted by anybody's opinion of what you do or what you decide to do with your life. But when it's something like this, like it's hard because, and especially with people that are closer to you in family, because it's just because you care.
Yeah, you care about them. And how you are in the family unit, right? Mm-hmm. Because the family unit kind of changes, right? Everyone has to see you and like put you in a different category now. Mm-hmm. But like something cool my mom did say was like, she's like, our relationship hasn't changed no matter what. And I was like, that's so cool. She's like, we will remain close and we will remain like having open conversations. And I was like, that's sweet. She's like, I don't see that different.
Mm-hmm. For a second, can you explain just the part where when you first met a doctor, and what kind of like guidance did they give you? Did they explain you well all the thing? How is the system today? How is it for somebody that
So, for me, it's really hard with this system because BC systems actually is quite a strenuous thing in order to be on testosterone. For me, I was very lucky because I had a very good family doctor that I have seen since I was like 4. So they can look at, my mental health and struggles and etc., long list of whatever, and say, yeah, okay, this is good. So when I went in and I talked to my doctor, I was at the point that I was very confident going in and saying, like, I need to be on testosterone. So I could advocate for myself that a doctor then could be like, yes, okay, I can write that for you, no problem. So that was our interaction. I just sat down. She gave me the testosterone that day. I got to go to Nolan's, pick up my prescription, and I got to walk back there. And a nurse always goes through, how to do a shot, which is important. Like they don't want you going on YouTube and learning how to inject testosterone in your body.
Yeah. That's good. They give you.
Yeah, it's really good, and she was great. So the first time they do it with you, and then the second time that you go back, they do like half of it. You actually inject it yourself. They give you any tips that you could correct and etc. And then you're on your way after that.
At how point do you start feeling different?
Oh,
first,
yeah.
Physically, not necessarily mentally yet.
Yeah.
First, physically in the thing.
It's really hard. So from like when you're changing to see the changes yourself, it's like obviously you don't look at yourself in the mirror constantly. But I think my point was about 6 months that I could see and feel things that were quite like a bit different. Your voice kind of drops and like fat distribution will change throughout your body. And then what was the best thing and most helpful for myself, because no matter what year you're on testosterone, you will, as a trans person, experience body dysphoria no matter what. It could be as simple as wearing like a too tight of a shirt, or hearing your voice and finding it like nails on a chalkboard. So yeah, like that was like the 6 month sort of thing. And I would take photos every month. And now I can like look back from at 6 months when I thought I was changing to now, and I'm like, wow, like it's such a great difference. So I think that was like the most helpful thing for myself, was taking photos and videos of my process throughout the years. But yeah.
The night after derma rolling.
Hey everyone, I made it. This is my voice 9 months on T. This is my voice 11 months on testosterone. that is truly what's like really has made me fully happy, that I had no idea of. Like I've always played sports. I've played competitive soccer my whole life, but then actually like weightlifting, it completely has changed. You know, not only me physically, how I feel mentally and etc. You know, emotionally, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I started it like just shortly after, probably like 4 months after I came out as trans, and I haven't looked back since that. And it's really cool looking back at old videos of me lifting or doing like, you know, a long workout, and now I can just like pump it out, and or I'm doing twice as much weight as I used to. You know, I've put on 25 pounds more since yeah, since I started. It's like you know, you feel, yeah, 2 years, and you just feel like, yeah, you just want to keep doing it again and again and again and again. I can see why gym rats really like this stuff. You can get it very addictive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a very gender affirming thing, because when I walked into the gym, like no one knew me really, or my past, so they could see me as who I was, and I didn't have to explain anything. And I was like, well, at least I can go to the gym because everyone sees me as male. Yeah, that was really cool.
You would say that the main reason is because you to the core you were feeling that you needed to be in another, like you needed to be male.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. It's such a weird feeling when you're like not in the right body, you know? And it's something that people are fighting a lot. Or even if it's like, you know, a neurodiversity, people fight taking pills or seeing a psychiatrist or a therapist because it doesn't, because society wants you to be like this. And this is how you're supposed to present. This is how you were supposed to come out. But that's not like necessarily it. And when you wrap your mind around like, oh well, like just because this is the outline of something, of a story, doesn't mean that this is the story that I have to write.
Just be the person you want to be, right, or you need to be.
Yeah,
it's crazy because you just it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, doing something like this, and now you definitely start to feel it that it's gonna help you tackle multiple other challenges that you have, right? Like because that experience makes you or made you like stronger,
yeah,
more resilient toward anything else.
100%. Now I feel like everything else, like probably leading up to this, is gonna be so minimal. I'm gonna be like, that's just potatoes. Like, you know, having a conversation with someone, ooh, hard. Oh no, we didn't agree on something.
Yeah. No, but like, right?
Totally.